When I was a child, my mother would take myself and my brother to the Delaware shore for our annual beach week. Beach week involved my aunt, uncle, and 3 cousins, and the main staple was getting a pontoon boat and heading out onto the bay to go crabbing. Our family vacations were so routine that they all blend in my memory, with the exception of the year of the seagull. The morning started off like Delaware summer mornings do, hot and humid, and I went into the bait shop to buy a bag of chicken necks, their preferred snack for crabs. Overhead on the radio, the weatherman was giving an update, possible thunderstorms in the early afternoon. I walked outside with the bag of chicken necks. I met the rest of my family. We climbed aboard the metal pontoon boat, and my uncle got in the driver's seat, and the remaining 7 of us crammed into this tiny little metal seat on the back of the metal boat. Now, my uncle is a rule follower, and so we puttered out into the bay following the very low 5 to 10 mile an hour speed limit. We found a spot, we threw the lines over the edge of the boat, and tried to get some crabs. This wasn't the spot meant for us, though, and as we pulled up our lines, I looked over my shoulder, and I noticed in the distance some storm clouds. I pointed these out to the adults, and they said, "Don't worry about it. The wind's blowing in a direction that's going to take those clouds right away from the direction we're sailing." I'm a kid. I trust the adults. I don't think twice about this. And we putter farther out into the bay. We get to another spot, drop the lines with the chicken necks on them, and here the crabs are biting. We spend a good 25 minutes pulling up our lines. Crabs are hanging off of them. And I pull up my line at one point, turn around to drop the crab into the cooler. And now these storm clouds are definitively closer. This time when I mention it to the adults, they say, "It's time we hightail it out of here." My uncle goes to turn on the boat, and there's that dreaded sound of an engine that won't catch. For the next 5 minutes, he's turning the key, turning the key, turning the key, until finally the boat starts. We sail for maybe a minute before the engine dies, and at this point, there's rumbling getting closer, the wind is picking up, and the hair on my uncle's arms and head starts to stand straight up. We look up, and there is a wall of black clouds meeting brilliantly sunny blue sky. The boat finally turns on. And this time, my uncle, the rule follower, could care less about the speed limit, and we are tearing through the bay, trying to keep up with the blue sky part. But the black sky is outracing us, and the trees that are on the island start to wave to the left, to the right, to the left, and the wind is picking up. There are waves in the bay, and the thunder and lightning, you can only count a couple seconds between them. My mom gets off of the bench. She kneels in front of us, and she says, "This is what we're going to do. The 6 of you need to spread out, because if a bolt of lightning hits one of you, you're all going to be electrocuted." And so we sit there like this, trying not to touch each other, because my family loves each other and wants everyone else to live. Then my mom says, "If the boat gets struck and it goes down, swim to the nearest island. Don't worry, kids. I'm not a good swimmer, but I can doggy paddle that far." And so we sit there like this, with my mom crouched in front of us, my uncle white-knuckled steering the boat, and this is what we're hearing. Bang, 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 flashes of lightning in the same instant as the thunder until bang! A bolt of lightning comes down right above us, hits a seagull, and it explodes. We suddenly have the wind in our face, feathers flying and landing on us, bits of flesh, and my brother goes, "Dear God, please let that seagull be okay. Please let that seagull fly home to its seagull family." I didn't tell my brother that since we were wearing the seagull, there was no way it was flying home to its seagull family. Finally, the area that we had started our journey came into sight. My uncle took a hard left turn, pulled that boat in. My aunt started pushing family aside, yelling, "Women and children first!" Takes a leap off of the boat while it's still in motion, and we all run inside. When we got in, the owner of the rental company told us that a tornado had touched down not too far from where we had been crabbing, and 2 lifeguards had already been reported struck and died trying to get people to clear the beach. That summer was the first summer a seagull saved my life, and it was the last summer that my family decided that we would go crabbing to get the crabs we wanted to eat for dinner. And every subsequent summer at the beach, instead, we just opted for the grocery store.